Tolo.
Where's Khalifa, man?
Cool.
Let's go.
Diamond FM, your one-step dial.
The time is 9 o'clock.
Aago mẹ́sàn-án ti lù.
For the best of national, local, international news and sport, tune in to News Punch and Diamond 88.7 FM. News Punch, all about the news.
It's exactly 1 minute gone past 9 a.m. Good morning and thank you for joining us on today's edition of News Punch and Diamond 88.7 FM in Lorry, where we bring you the trending stories across the globe. My name is Mekamua, Osigbodi. Here are the stories making waves across the world. In Nigeria, a lawmaker representing Borno's South Senatorial District, Ali Ndume, has said politicians have started buying the leadership of the yet-to-be-inaugurated 10th National Assembly. Ndume, who was a guest on Channels Television's Sunday Politics, also said he would have won the Senate President seat in 2019 if he had money. The All Progressive Congress APC lawmaker, who has been in the National Assembly for 20 years, pushed for an Unexplained Wealth Act to deal with corrupt politicians with suspicious wealth. And still in Nigeria, a lawmaker representing Soldiers of the Nigerian Army have killed 11 bandits in a fierce battle in the Benin Gwari local government area of Kaduna State. This was as another 7 bandits were killed in Niger State. The troops, according to the Kaduna State Commissioner for Internal Security and Home Affairs, Samuel Arunwa, cleared several camps of the hoodlums across 9 communities in the local government area. In entertainment, South Africa's Kosi has won the maiden edition of the Big Brother Titans reality TV show, claiming the grand prize of $100,000. Kosi defeated 5 other competitors in the finale of the show on Sunday. Premiered on January 15 and ran for 78 days, the show is the first Big Brother to house participants from only South Africa and Nigeria. In sports, Paris Saint-Germain suffered a second home defeat in a row on Sunday, falling 1-0 to Lyon as they saw their lead at the top of Ligue 1 cut to 6 points. After losing 2-0 at home to Rennes 2 weeks ago, it was Lyon's Bradley Barcola who inflicted the latest loss for PSG at the Parc des Princes. The goal by Barcola made up for a missed penalty by Alexandre Lacazette in the first half. It is the Parisians' 5th Ligue 1 loss this season, all of them in 2023, and leaves Christophe Galtier's side just 6 points ahead of both second-place Lens and Marseille in third. And that's all we have for you on this edition of News Punch. Up next is Diamond Breakfast Show, where we bring you the analysis of the stories. Do stay tuned.
The major talking points in Nigeria are always on the lips of the citizens.
What's going on in this country? Look at smaller countries taking lead and you call yourself giant of Africa. Yeah.
Nigeria don't spoil my business too much. Nigeria is too hard for us. I mean, I want to kill us. Father, not kill us for Nigeria. Oh, please, help us beg them.
They should reduce their expenditure so that they can free enough money for social development.
I wish for a Nigeria where we elect a leader based on competency and not popularity.
On the Diamond Breakfast Show, we place the spotlight on the critical issues in the country.
Government that says they are broke can prioritize construction of an additional runway over education of the people.
How can you hold Indomine? I mean, this is intolerable. It's provocative.
Now, you see, when you look at our democratic journey, we are yet to practice genuine democratic system in Nigeria.
Join us on Mondays to Friday on the DBS from 9 to 10 a.m. The Diamond Breakfast Show, amplifying the voice of the people.
From the
studios of Diamond 88.7 FM in Loring, this is the Diamond Breakfast Show.
Good morning and welcome. It's a brand new day and a brand new week in a new month. It's April 3rd, and to that effect, it's also a new quarter. Welcome to a brand new month. It's 5 minutes after 9 a.m. and you are listening to Diamond Breakfast Show on your shining supreme station, Diamond 88.7 FM. Welcome to Loring. I am Mekamua Osigbodi. Now, as is custom on the Diamond Breakfast Show, we bring you in-depth analysis of some of the major stories from the week. And it's super important as today we have 3 of those conversations just for you so we could analyze these things and know them together. And well, to analyze these stories with me is a legal practitioner, public affairs analyst, and a social commentator, Mr. Bashir Oladipo. Good morning, sir. It's great to have you in the studio.
Good morning.
All right.
It's my pleasure.
All right. How are you
doing,
Good
morning,
sir?
Listeners. Fine.
All right. Great.
How was your weekend?
It was fantastic. How was yours, sir?
Fine.
Welcome to a new month. All right. Now, while the show progresses, you could also be a part of the conversation by joining us live across social media. On Facebook, we're live, and YouTube. On Facebook is Diamond 887 FM, and on YouTube is Diamond FM Lauren. You could also tweet at us at Twitter at Diamond 887 FM using the hashtag Diamond Breakfast Show. Of course, you could also comment on each of the live feeds across Facebook and YouTube. You could also send messages via WhatsApp to the number 0913-655-6864. Once again, the number is 0913-655-6864. You could also send SMS to the same number. Now let's get straight into the conversation for today. Mr. Bashir.
Yeah.
The call for restructuring has been an age-long yearning by many Nigerians. It is an open conversation that divides the mindset and calls for a new depth in the social, political, and economic structure. Several decades after the amalgamation of the Northern and Southern Protectorates in 1914 by Lord Lugard, and 57 years of the nation's independence, there are still strong and persistent agitations by some interest groups in the polity demanding for the immediate restructuring of the existing political arrangement. Now, their agitations are coming on the heels that Nigerian federalism has totally assumed the attributes of a unitary system of government. Considered from the system of practice, a unitary system of government or a unitary state is a sovereign state governed as a single entity. Now, while the central government is supreme, the administrative divisions exercise only powers that the central government delegates to them. On the other hand, a federal government is a system that divides up power between a strong national government and state and local government, now otherwise known as the component unit. Under federalism, each level of government has sovereignty in some areas and shares powers in other areas. Now, yesterday celebrated literary icon Professor Wole Soyinka, and he said the call for restructuring is not an ending conversation. And Professor Soyinka continued that the government of President-elect Bola Tinubu must place a renewed focus on the persistent calls for restructuring the Nigerian Federation, otherwise its programs and policy will face serious challenges. The Nobel laureate winner advice is of twofold: why the call for restructuring persists and the need for the new president to do more to stop the agitation. The calls for restructuring, Mr. Bashir. Do we build this momentum on the political, economic realities in the country since 1999? What are your thoughts on this?
Let me first talk as a lawyer. You see, sometimes we sit down and make some talks, raise some issues. But we fail to really realize that some of these issues are not as simple as they seems to be. So the president cannot do anything about the way Nigeria is structured now constitutionally. If there will be anything to be done, the government, the president may send constitutional review, whatever, constitutional amendment to the House. The law and the Constitution has already created and defined the roles and responsibilities of every organ of government. the executive, the legislative, the local government, the federal government, the state government. And before we can do anything, unless we are saying you want the present order to be petitioned and then bring up another order. And I believe that may not be easy, because in that wise, you are more or less talking about revolution. Is that at every point in time in the history of this country where our structure has been changed, it has always been by way of revolution. Except probably before the independence. Even at that, you see that there's some measure of revolution. The Southern Protectorate, the Lagos Protectorate, and the Northern Protectorate were separate organs, separate units of government. Lugard came, used veto power of the British government from the Queen, and then amalgamated the two together, or the three together gradually, and then they formed what we now call Nigeria. At independence, when there was need for constitution, our leaders sat, and right from that time, you will realize that until the time before the Constitutional Conference, when we had the Macaulay, our founding father, the early founding fathers.
Right.
Those are the people who are actually talking about Nigeria. And in that way, if you look at it, most of them are talking of Nigeria by virtue of the area they are. Macaulay is in Lagos, more or less in the southwest. We have the leader in the north too. I can't remember the name. There's one man is from Borno State, and there's another man from Kano. These people were the one who were during the agitation for independence. But by the time Macaulay and his set moved out, and Awolowo, Azikiwe, Sardauna came in, it becomes a regional issue. It is from that time that the issue of regionalism, tribal politics stepped into the system. And at that time, we'll have the North representative going to the London Constitutional Conference, the West Constitutional Conference, the West Constitutional representative going to and the East. You understand? So from the East, we have Azikiwe, the late Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe. We have from the East, from the West, we have the late Chief Obafemi Awolowo leading the team. And then we have from the North, Sir Ahmadu Bello Abubakar leading the team. So from the onset, you see that we have this, everybody has their own role. And if you look at the constitution at that stage, we had 4 constitutions in Nigeria. We have the Northern Constitution, we have the Western Constitution, then we have the Eastern Constitution, then we have the Federal Constitution. So these are the 4 constitutions that were governing the affairs of Nigeria based on bicameral legislative system, modeled after the British system of government, but with modification to accommodate our traditional system. And that was why, if you look at that time, we made in fact, the greatest progress Nigeria made was at that level, because the system of administration we used was modeled and remolded to suit our peculiar situation in the country, including our traditional system. Our traditional rulers were recognized. They play a role in the affairs of the nation, and you will see that there was peace throughout the Federation. Not only peace, progress throughout the Federation. By 1996, there was a coup led by Major Kaduna Nzuegu. The coup failed, but then it brought out a revolution, and that was when Chief General Aguiyi became the commander-in-chief, the head of state and commander-in-chief of the armed forces. And at that time, that is where our problem started. The first thing he did was to throw away all constitution, the 4 constitutions governing the nation, appointed military administrator and form a unitary system. That was where we have this problem. And it continued like that. Each succeeding administration, Gowon came in, continued with it. The Civil War came in during Gowon. It was resolved. But then the unitary system was even strengthened more. Because at that time, they now felt that, if this thing is not, then the federation may collapse because of the Civil War. So it became more tightening, and they were tightening it. One would have expected that the Constitutional Conference, the Constitutional Drafting Committee that was set up by General Olusegun Obasanjo in 1979. These are members, majority of those the drafting committee, majority of them participated in the First Republic. They ought to have known that the British system that we were practicing, that recognizes our system, recognizes our peculiarity as a nation, is what they would have recommended to the head of state. But unfortunately, the military government was already teleguiding them and telling them what they actually want, a presidential system of government. And then we had what we have now. You understand? So we had the 1979 Constitution as a presidential system. And that presidential, with more power to the federal, less power to the state, lesser power to the local government. So every majority of the economy activities that are likely to fetch the nation more money, particularly the area of petroleum, the area of minerals, were all ceded to the federal government. So every state, every local government was now looking up to the federal government for finance. So the federal government now become a very powerful leader, organ, where everybody is waiting to collect one thing or the other. I don't know if you get my point. Now, we practice that because of the fact that majority of those people who came in that 1979 were people who practiced the 1959-60 Constitution. So you see some measure of discipline in the political affairs of the country at that stage. Right. You understand? But unfortunately, by the time the military came in again through the present head of state, you understand, they went back to the unitary system until Babangida came in. All of them, they started practicing different kind of political system. Majority of Nigerians were quiet. They were watching them. Our leaders were not saying much until 1993, when Abiola won the election. And then Nedekuna came up. And then we started all this problem. No, there must be democracy. There must be this. There must be that. You see, but none of them actually thought of the fact that we had a system that is giving too much power to the federal. And if they had that thought, they were not even saying anything about it. None of them are saying anything about our traditional system again. So we are concentrating on the fact that we are now a free country where freedom of the citizen is more important than the activities of governance. And it is the freedom, the human rights freedom, that led us to the American system of presidential system again. And then, when Abdulsalam was to fashion his own constitution, it was predominantly and as expected the same thing as 1979 Constitution. So I had to go to this memory lane so that people will know the issue of restructuring we are talking of. What are we actually talking about when we are saying restructuring? That's the question. Are we saying that our system of governance, is it on the economic angle? Is it on this? And whatever way we are talking about, there's already a grand norm, what the lawyers will call a grand norm. And the grand norm of the nation is the Constitution. That constitution has become the basis of every activities that we can do in this country now. And no president can just throw away that constitution and say he's bringing another constitution, unless the revolution. Unless there's a revolution. The alternative, which I doubt, because of the fact that the present crop of people or the present crop of leaders who are aspiring and who have aspired, who are now in possession of power, majority of them do not really love this country. They are more concerned about power and their pocket. Because since all this time we have been talking of restructuring, our representative at the National Assembly, our representative at the State Assembly, what step have they taken? You understand? To ensure that, okay, this is what we want. They have the power to amend the constitution, even to change the constitution and bring it out to be what people are aspiring to be. But they are not doing anything, and they are the one who will do it. The president cannot do it. He can only propose to them until it is passed by the houses, by all the different houses of the different legislative body. There's no way. So we'll only be making noise. That's my own view of the whole thing. So whatever we are saying now, we need to really come up with it. And then our representative of the National Assembly, our representative of the State Assembly need to come in. The president will need to come in. Everyone. So it's not a single responsibility of just one person, the president. No. He alone cannot do anything. It is the legislative that can change the law. The executive cannot make law. They can only propose the law. Those who make law are the legislative. So we need to really, strategize and then make our focus clear and know where we are going.
Right.
On the issue of this restructuring. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bashir. And
I'm sorry to take so much time going memory line, but I think we need to do it in order for people to actually understand and know where the problem is and where we are going and how we can reach that.
I really appreciate the fact that you went down memory lane so more people are knowledgeable about this ongoing. And one part that really, really did it for me when you were analyzing it was the part where you mentioned the part of the legislative and also those who proposed the law. And one thing that I want you to also talk about is the attention that Nigerians actually place on these people. Now, just from the just concluded election, we saw that the numbers dropped after the presidential election because people do not really pay attention to the people in the National Assembly, people in the legislative. How much harm does that do to us as a country?
Yeah, thank you very much. You see, as much as you may elect a good leader, or a seemingly good leader, because nobody is actually perfect. If you don't have a strong, you see, when you look at all the federation developed countries, you see that they have a strong, determined, focused, nationalist legislature. Otherwise, if not for that, a lot of countries will have gone. Look at what happened in America during Donald Trump. If not because they had a good legislative system, Donald Trump will have changed the whole of America, and the America we're talking of today will have been something of the past. It will have become something else. Then Nigerians will now realize that nothing is wrong with our laws, but a lot is wrong with the practitioner, those who are practicing, the practitioners. Nothing is wrong with our law. Whatever the system we have, I believe we can manage it to suit our. The most primary thing is for us to have a nationalist mind. So Nigerians should concentrate more on the quality of the legislators. They are very, very important. I was listening to one program maybe yesterday or thereabouts. One was some of our they were making. He was making something, but I realized that maybe because of his knowledge, he doesn't really understand. So he was talking the way he was talking, and now I look at it and say, no, that is not our problem. Our problem is more of the fact that when you say a governor or a president refuse to obey the law, and you are talking of immunity of the governor, immunity of the... You see, they don't have total immunity. What they actually had was against crime. The law also provides a check to their excesses, and that check is the impeachment procedure. Like what happened during the last time when the president came out, the the court made an order, and the president now came out openly to counter that order. If it were to be where we have a responsible representative, the next day you will see movement for impeachment. Quickly, the president will come out and change whatever he has said. You understand? That is the check. So the legislative are the checks to the excesses of the executive. The court are the check to the excesses of the executive and the legislative. And that is why you will never hear the court coming to make comments on issues openly. You understand? They have to just sit down in one corner. They are not to be seen. They are only to be heard. They are not to be talking anyhow. You get my point, sir? So what I'm saying in essence is that, as going to your question, is that Nigerians should concentrate more in identifying responsible people to go to the legislative. Not only that, the local government. We're in a situation where you will see people will say, I'm above the chairman of a local government. It's totally wrong. In fact, the local level is where you need the best of the best to go to the council so that you can have proper development. You get my point? So we need to concentrate more on all this area of legislative, appointing responsible people who have nationalist interest, not based on the fact that this thing is like, I'm sorry to make this comment, somebody representing a state in the assembly coming to another state to contest, saying he's changing his name to come and contest for governor. Is it reasonable? It's totally reasonable. You see a lot of people shouting he should be the governor. Somebody who has not been with you, somebody who is representing certain constituency before, is not coming to come and live with you now, or he's been living with you for a certain number of days. No, we need to really look at all these issues. The party system issue. Somebody leaving one party, going to the other party, within a think of a hair, within a day is now representing the party as the candidate. All these things is breathing bad political and democratic system where people will have little or no patriotism to the area they are representing.
All right, thank you very much. Now, quickly, on another note, one of the cries by a lot of Nigerians is the fact that we do not practice appropriate federal system of government. Now, what would an appropriate federal system of government, first, what would it mean for us as a country, and what are the benefits of this system to us as a country? And do you think that if we actually give into practicing the appropriate, like
which one is appropriate federal?
No.
So that's the question I used to ask people. What do you mean by appropriate federal system? You understand? There's nothing like appropriate federal system, or there is nothing like inappropriate federal system. A federal system is a situation where you have a federation unit and powers are shared between these units. Simple as ABC. So once powers are shared between these units, with the federal having the higher and that's having the exclusive, then you have a federal system. You understand? Virtually all the countries in the whole world have federal system. You understand my point? They may not have presidential system. Go to Britain, they have federal system. There are some exclusive power which is given to the country as a whole. Then they have residual power given to the separating units. You understand? If you go to America, they have their own. If you go to Germany, they have their own. Go to Denmark, they have their own. Go to China there, they have it. So virtually every system, every state is practicing a federal system. You understand? But it is the nature of governance. In Nigeria and Britain and America, we are practicing presidential system. In Germany, their own system is, we cannot call it presidential, it's chancellor, but they have their own checks and balance. If you go to Britain, they are practicing parliamentary system. All of them are federal systems. You get my point? So when people are saying we are not practicing proper federalism, I always want more explanation. What do you mean by that? Because federal system is a very simple, straightforward something.
Now, people that are of this opinion agree that the state level and local government are not sovereign enough, and that most of the power are being given to the federal level rather than the state and the local.
My dear brother, as far as I'm concerned, they are sovereign enough. It's left to them. They are the one who is not, using their power. Let me give you a very good example. There was a time the federal government made some issues. They made certain pronouncement, executive order. And most of the states said they are not following it. And they refused to follow it. And what happened? Nothing. But you see the same state virtually all the states in this country, in fact, all the governors in this country ought to have been impeached. Because how can you say you are a governor for good 4 years and there is no local government election? And this is recognized by the Constitution. You understand? The Constitution is very clear on the local government sovereignty. The Constitution is very clear on the state sovereignty. The Constitution is very clear on the federal sovereignty. You understand? The level and the extent. Respect that one, no matter how small. Respect it first. But the governors are not respected. In fact, the governor is the most culpable of those people who are not respecting the Constitution of this country, and followed by the State House of Assembly. The governor will come in and says all the local government, the chairman of local government, he said they are removed, and then we appoint, and the House of Assembly will just keep quiet, and they won't say anything. In fact, sometimes you will see some House of Assembly passing rules, passing law, and say yes, what the governor has done, like it happened in Kwara when Abraham first came in. The House of Assembly now said yes, all the local government chairmen and the council should be removed. Do they have that power? No. And they have gone to court severally, and the court has said yes, you don't have that power, and they have failed to respect the court on that issue. The same governors are now saying the federal government is not respecting the court order. You can imagine, you can see this hypocrisy going up in this country. So is the quality of the legislators that will let this country have some sanity. You understand? When a governor misbehave and the House of Assembly, they initiate an impeachment proceeding against one, remove him for violating the law. They do it in another country, in another state. Before you know it, my dear brother, you will realize that the governors will sit up.
Right.
You understand?
Yeah.
All of them, we have rules. They make monies. There are areas that the federal government have power. There is area that the state government has power. There is area that the local government has power. You understand? When the federal government wanted to take some part of Lagos State the other time, and they were insisting that it falls within certain area, the Lagos State government went to court and they won. And if you look at several, you will realize that the Lagos State government during the time of the present governor and probably Fashola, they were able to engage and enrich our federal and our administrative governance system by the number of the court cases that they were able to pursue in the interest of the federal democracy and federal system.
All right, we'll dive more into this conversation just after this. We need to pay the bills right now. Stay here. This is still the Diamond Breakfast Show.
Diamond FM, your one-step dial.
Ara ríro kò sí mọ́, àwọn ká ti sá lọ, àrùnmọ́lẹ́gùn ẹ̀yìn dídùn làkúrẹ́ ìgbé, wọ́n ti lọ wá bí wọ́n sí. Kára o lè pé bàmù rẹ̀ àtòrà dáadáa.
Kòkó lára ọ̀tá le. Gbéra ńlẹ̀ kó dìde. Kára o lè pè ń bà. Àtòrà wọ̀, àtòrà pẹ̀sẹ̀, àtòrà dáadáa. Kẹ́gun tó kẹ́gun náà. Kára o yá gágá. Ara ń ronú tẹ́lẹ̀ kò ronú mọ́. Tẹ̀bá ti fi kára o lè pè ń bà rà. Lẹ́sẹ̀kẹsẹ̀ ló ń ṣiṣẹ́ wọnú igun. Tó sì ń ṣe àtúntò rẹ̀. Òṣùbù yẹ̀kẹ́ fa párọ̀ tàbí fi ẹsẹ̀ dá. Fi kára o lè pè ń bà wọ̀. Káì, ara rẹ̀ ó lè padà yakinlala. Action, action. Ó jẹ́ àwọ̀ká àròmọ̀lẹ́gun. Làkúègbé, ara ríro tàbí ẹ̀yìn dídùn. Kára o lè pè ń bà lọ́kọ̀ gbogbo wọn. Agbára pọ̀, kára ó lè pè ń bá. Tuyi Pharmaceutical Industries Limited. Àwọn tó lórúkọ tó ṣe é gbẹ́kẹ̀lé níbi ká po oògùn òyìnbó ló ṣe é. Kára ó lè pè ń bá. Ẹ̀rọ ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ pín ìrèpàtú òpèrè ta pàtà pọ́npọ́n. Kára ó lè pè ń bá. Ó kì í síbẹ̀.
Kára ó lè pè ń bá mú rẹ̀ àtòrà dáadáa.
The federal government, through the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, announces the availability of COVID-19 and childhood vaccines nationwide. With the disturbing increase in reported cases of COVID-19 infections across Nigeria, protect yourself and loved ones from the harmful virus by getting vaccinated. Visit the nearest public or private health facility and mass vaccination sites today to receive the first, second, or booster doses of COVID-19 vaccines. COVID-19 vaccines are given to persons 18 years and above, including pregnant women and breastfeeding mothers, while childhood vaccines are given to children from birth to 5 years for protection against polio, hepatitis, yellow fever, measles, meningitis, and other vaccine-preventable diseases. All vaccines are free, safe, and effective. For inquiries, visit www.nphcda.gov.ng or call 0700 220 1122.
This message is brought to you by the National Primary Health Development Agency in collaboration with the Nigeria Red Cross Society with support from the Africa CDC SLL program.
Keep in touch with us from any part of the world. Log on to our website www.diamondfm.net or download our app Diamond FM on Google Play Store or Apple Store.
35 minutes after 9, you're still listening to the Diamond Breakfast Show on your Shining Supreme station, Diamond 88.7 FM. And I'm joined by a political analyst, legal practitioner, and social commentator, Mr. Bashir Oladipo. Thank you for being in the studio with us today.
It's my pleasure.
Right now, we're currently dissecting the agitation for restructuring in the country, and so far Mr. Bashir has done such a great job in analyzing all of this. Right, you could also be a part of the conversation by sending a message via WhatsApp or SMS to the number 0913 655 6864. You could also drop a comment on our YouTube page at Diamond FM Ilorin or on Facebook at Diamond 887 FM on the live feed. Now, just before we get the reaction of some of the listeners over this conversation, now, just like Professor Shoyinka put, with the desire to balance certain differences in our political and economic decisions, douse this agitation.
Yeah, you see, for me, like I always say, there's nothing wrong with our laws, including our constitution. What is the only thing is the only area that I felt we need to really strengthen more is our traditional administrative system, our traditional leaders. We need to give them and allow them to play the role for which they were created to do by their people and by God. You understand? Right. Once this one is done, what matters most in our administration is the personality. Is it the personality of the president, the personality of the governor, the personality of the leaders? What is their nature? A good leader who respects the law, who is ready to follow the law, will give the state and the people the best of the best. But a leader, no matter how good you may be, the moment you fail to respect the rule of law, the moment you fail to follow the law, then the people will suffer. The people in any country, in any society that failed to follow the law, that failed to respect the law, I'm talking now individually, in our own individual lives.
Right.
The moment you fail to respect the law, the moment you fail to follow the law, then everything will fail. God who created us gave laws. He made that law even more above himself than him now above the law. Talk less of we human beings. Laws is the basis for the smooth running of every society. So if the president comes in, like I said, and he follow what the Constitution has said, you will see that most of these things will douse all this issue.
All right.
You understand my point? Because let's follow what the law says. The law is clear. There is a budget. The budget is for the growth of the nation. You have to look at what does this area requires. What can we give to this area that will make it more functional? Which one is having a more cooperative advantage in terms of if we place this thing here, will it assist us more than placing it here? So all these things are clear. You get my point? Right. So with the president coming in, my advice to the president and all his entourage that will join him with in terms of governance is that they should be ready to ensure that they respect and uphold the law.
Right.
Let all the legislative people who are going to the house also make up their mind that laws should be respected. Let all the lawyers, all the judges, all the policemen, the law enforcement, let everybody respect the law. And then you will see everything working perfectly and going smooth.
All right, thank you so much. Well, it's time to get the reaction of you, the listeners. 0913-655-6864 is the number for WhatsApp and also text messages. But if you prefer to call in, the numbers are 080-00-837-664 887. Once again, the number is 08000 You could also call 0913-655-6952 to be a part of the conversation this morning. What are your thoughts on the agitations for restructuring in the country? And what do you think is the way forward for us as a country? Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Oh, we lost that one. Kindly try again, 0913-655-6952 or 080-00-887-887. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
It's like the network is...
Oh, it seems like we have a network problem. 0913-655-6952. Hello, good morning. Good morning, name and location. We definitely lost out. I don't know what's going on with the network this morning, but we'll try and fix it as soon as possible. Let's check the messages that we have. Now, this one says, Nigeria is not designed to serve ordinary citizens. We can make Nigeria serviceable. Apart from national security, immigration, currency, external affairs, every other thing should be moved to concurrent list, including policing. All right, let's take this call. Hello, good morning. Oh, wow. I seriously do not understand what's going on with the network today, but let's go on with the messages. And this one says, a natural man with 300 million to 2 billion naira security vote every month without accountability is most likely to turn a monster. Nigeria is blessed. Too much money in political offices, wickedness and greed are the primary causes of insecurity in Nigeria. Caller Day from Asadam. Well, we hear you. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Dr. Z from Cherry Schools.
Good morning, Dr. Zil. Go on.
Yeah, I want to commend the analyst in the studio. In fact, he had made my day, and I really appreciate his wealth of experience in the politics of this nation, especially going down the memory lane. And what he said, they are all truth, and we cannot take them away, especially for our nation to move forward. This is what we want to be hearing, especially in this time where a new government is coming on board and a lot of things are not right with us. Like he said, as a lawyer there, he said, laws make everything. We should all be obedient. And if you look at it, it's sad to know that people who are coming to power, that want to, our politicians are not people who love laws. They hate laws, but they pretend to love it. And when you see them, when it comes to when they want to swear them in, what do? They hold the Bible or hold the Constitution, any other, or Quran, whichever religion they belong. And you see them, they will not even be afraid. They will say it's what they will do. They say they will uphold the law, but by the time they get there, they do otherwise. An example is this current administration with what they've done so far. Look at a lot of cases that they do not just obey court orders, and they will want to fight even the law or only do the one that please them. So if we can all obey the law, I want to tell you the new government, if it will not be like this one, because they are in the same party, want to obey the law in everything, I'm very sure Nigeria will be better for it.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Zil, for your contribution. 0913-655-6952 or 080-00-887-887. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Good morning. Name and location.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Onidio from Biada.
All right, go on, sir. Good morning.
I really agree with the guest, which was saying that we should obey the laws. Nigeria is too big to be run as a unitary government. You know, there is again in diversity. You know, our forefathers, they know what they are after when they say Nigeria should be divided into various regions. When we have 3 regions in the country, there are constitution. But now with the last constitutional something we have, 1999, it's of no use at all. And there is no unity in Nigeria. Because I can't imagine leaving Kuala for Sokoto and paying different school fees. Where is the unity there?
All right.
So that's what divides us the more. So we should have the way of having serious unity. I have So let Nigeria be restructured.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much for your contribution. As much as the network was trying to mess up that conversation, we hear that he says that Nigeria needs to adjust the laws to fit what
we
is
need to
going
restructure.
Exactly. Now, we have this message on WhatsApp. It says, "Good morning, House. I think the guest in the House is actually doing justice on the issue of restructuring. The professor is in good position." Now, speaking about Professor Shoyinka, is in good position to tell us how the country is structured and the area restructuring is needed. They are just saying restructuring. Restructuring is just a word. The professor should be able to break it down to details for us to see. He should let us know what is in restructuring that will benefit the common man in the streets. Issa Mohammed from Ilorin. Well, the calls are coming in and the messages, but we have to move on to the next topic. And the next topic it goes another conversation that looks the same to this first topic is a serious reality that played a huge advantage in the historic 2023 general elections. Sentiments on certain aspects of human history, but politically awoken for reasons we would like to know on this program. And before now, we continue to discuss the influence of religion and tribal affirmations in what we do as individuals and as a nation. The political parties made their decision, Muslim, Christian, Muslim, and all other choices. Now, after the presidential election, another topic emerged in the center of excellence, Lagos State. And this time it's the question of who owns the state, the Yorubas or others. Now, this was dragged till the election day and beyond. Well, this is the second topic on the Diamond Breakfast Show today. Historically, Mr. Bashir, have we ever had this sentiment in our election seasons as much as this year?
Yes, we had.
Tell us about it.
You see, let me say one thing. When I was talking the other time, I told you that we had regions and we had the constitutions of different regions. Why must we have that? It's because our founding fathers actually, build their political existence on tribal and basically, let's say it was based principally on tribal. We have the whole of Southwest having the Yorubas, and then the Yorubas were coming out talking about what they want as a Yoruba nation, and they felt unless we are together, we will not be able to progress. The Igbos in the southeast, being the majority leaders, the majority group there, also felt that no, the east must also come together. The north, you understand, also did the same thing. But when you look at Ghana, when Ghana and some of the other countries were fighting for their independence, it was not based on that. They all went into the Constitutional or Independence Conference as one indivisible group. You understand? And that was why it's very easy for them. Look at what happened in South Africa. At least many of us, I'm talking of my own age, many of us were at least, clear in terms of adults at that age to understand what was happening. There was not. We have the Zulus, we have the different types in South Africa. But the South Africans went into independence as a South Africans. And when they came out of the independence, they were ruling as South Africans. But when Nigeria went into the independent conference, they went there as tribal leaders. The Sardauna went there as the leader of the North. Awolowo went there as the leader of the Yorubas. In fact, when you look at some of these groups, you discover that they all grew up out of one cultural group. Awolowo, Egbe Omo Oduduwa. The North, they call it is it Talakawa or whatever? They call certain the way they call their own. The same thing in the East. Dr. Adzikwe was called to come and join the NCNC then, which was supposed to be the national organization. But unfortunately, because of the tribal issue that has always been coming up, it divided them. So Zeke had to align with his own tribal group, while the leaders in those areas, J.O. Davis and co, they also had to align. So it was at that stage that the issue of tribal came into our system. Unfortunately, when the 1979, when this dispensation came in, our leader now brought in the issue of religion. There was nothing like religion at that time. It was more of tribal. But now, they have brought in the issue of religion. You understand? Right. And that's now becoming a great issue. But you see, I want to say one thing. It may not really, some of our people may not like it. I mean, some of the other religion. You see, this present government, I pray they see themselves as a Nigerian. I mean, Tinubu and Shetima, they see themselves as Nigerians and forget about the issue of religion. And I think they are likely to do that because the issue of Muslim ticket, people may think it is wrong, but for me, I think it is a step forward in our sentiments in this country.
Right.
If the Muslim ticket were able to, by the time we measure them and see them in the next 4 years, you understand, we'll be able to know whether we are moving away from tribal.
But should religion and tribal affiliations come before competency?
Thank you very much. To me, no. But at the same time, I will tell you one thing. There's no religion, there's no tribe that doesn't have competent people. So when you see anybody talking of religion, if you see anybody talking of tribal, then know that that fellow is not competent. He's greedy. That's my own way of looking at it. If you see anybody coming up and telling you, yes, why must it be Muslim? Why must it be Christian? Then that fellow, wash him properly. He's not a sincere, faithful person of that religion.
All right, on the final note now, what influence will the outcome of this debate in the 2023 general elections on religion and tribe have on the incoming elections in Nigeria?
To me, it has come to show that much as religion and tribal is important, is having its way, it has some weight.
Right.
We thank God that at the end of the day, it tells Nigerians that the two is not actually very important when it comes to election. And it means that every that is coming in now will not be looking at that. Because if he lay too much emphasis on tribal and religion, he may fail. Otherwise, because this dispensation, Tinubu and Shetima, when you look at the way the pressure and the way things were going, you will think they will fail. But for Nigerians to decide to elect them, then it shows that we have more Nigerians who are thinking more out of the box of religion and tribal. Shetima is from Borno, not a minority group in the north.
Right.
Tinubu is from the south. And the vote of South alone cannot make you a president, just as the vote of East cannot make you a president. Just the vote of North cannot make you a president.
All right, quickly, let's get this reaction from this caller. We already lost that one. Let's see if we could get one call just before the end of the program. Well. Seems so the network is good.
So much.
Oh, yeah. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Dr. Zil.
All right, quickly, Dr. Zil, go on.
Yeah, I want to say that for me, I beg to disagree with the analysts in the studio on this issue of Muslim thing. Because for me, I want to believe that we have in Nigeria religion, whether Muslim or Christian, it has not helped us the way it's supposed, because we just use those things as culture. We have turned it to culture, whereby some persons are using it against the politics that we're supposed to have.
All right, Dr. Zil.
There is
begin to round up.
That we should not even be talking about it. So in the case of, say, religion, Muslim, because we discover that in Nigeria, some persons believe that their religion is the best, some persons believe that their religion is, but whichever one, with our antecedent and those who have ruled us, even with religion, who does it help us? So for me, I just believe that it's a way of actually making us to still be thinking in the line of religion.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Zil.
We should just do the right thing and let competence be the only thing we should talk about, not this religious thing that has not helped us.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Sale.
I think that is exactly what we are saying.
Right.
We are not saying that one religion is better or that religion should be part of the thing. What we are saying is that this election has let it shown that the issue of religion will play minor and tribal will play minute role over competence, because competence is now shown, and that is why I think probably the present people, ordinarily Muslim ticket, no.
All right, well, that's the
Thank
size
God.
of the show. This is where we'll put a pause to you. Thank you so much for being a part of this, Mr. Bashir Oladipo, for your analysis and everything.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you for your contribution. And that's the size of our package today on the Diamond Breakfast Show, production of the News and Current Affairs Department. Once again, a big thank you to our guests for honoring our invitation. My name is Mekamua Osigbodi. Friends call me Mecca. A big thank you to all the engineers working in the background and, of course, the News and Current Affairs Department. We'll leave you with the news commentary from the News and Current Affairs Department. Stay tuned. This is still your shining supreme station, Diamond 88.7 FM.
Thank you.